Well, it looks like I chose the wrong speed selection on the time-lapse method of doing video. Instead of slowing it down, it's it made it go faster. Sorry, so now I know to go the other way on my speed selection. Hopefully, possibly, maybe it'll be better the next time I do it. In the meantime, here you go. All right, the cylinders are off. I'll turn the engine over and check the cam lobes. The one I'm worried about is over here, and it's face down right now. So over here we have the jugs, and let's do a flip over and take a look. Here are the followers, and look original. I'm going to lunch now because it is 10 after 11. Usually leave here about 11:15, get the lunch at 11:30. So when I get back, I'll pull these lifters out, see what they see. All right, so it's 1 o'clock, back from the old guy's lunch, old farts, P-H-A-R-T-Z. Jug is off, lifters are out, cam followers are out. They are completely shattered. I mean, literally shattered. A friend of mine at lunch buys and sells older parts, and he's going to see if he has 4 lifters that will fit in here. They will be used lifters. But then the ones that came out of here were used lifters. Yea, verily, they won't match the cam faces perfectly. Yea, verily, so what? That's what's going to happen. We'll put it together. Buying new lifters, putting them on old cam, they wouldn't match either. So hopefully he'll have 4 lifters that I can put this thing back together with. These are the parts for taking the cylinder off. These are the parts for taking the head off. I've got to clean all this stuff. Here's the cylinders upside down. I'm going to take the valves out and clean them and check the seats. And over here, I have the pistons sticking up in the air. I've got 3 layers of cloth underneath of them. I'm going to clean all this off, find out what size they are. The rings seem just fine. Remember, I was blowing smoke out of this left side, but after letting some Marvel Mystery Oil sit in it overnight, it stopped smoking. I hope that these will go back in the bike okay. I'll check the clearances, and if all the clearance is good, I will continue to use these pistons and rings because, just because. So we'll see. We'll do the measurements and make a decision. Right now I'm going to clean the carbon off the top and find out if they're oversized. Now the next thing I need to do is find out what the lift on stock Norton cams are, and then set up a dial gauge and measure the lift on this cam to see if it's stock or if somebody has put in a high competition cam in here that may have caused all this problem that I found with the lifters. I mean, if you put in a high lift competition cam and then somebody sets the valve clearances back to stock 6 and 8 when they really need to be like 8, 12, or 14, there could be a problem. I don't know. But, so I need to find out what the lift on this cam is and whether all 4 lobes are within their proper specification. That's what I'll do after I do some cleaning here. I'll go inside and do some research and try to figure out what the lift on the cams are and whether the cam faces are damaged and which would render the a cam unusable, which would put us in a real hole here with this bike, meaning cracking the engine, changing the cam. I hope it doesn't come to that, because Kevin and I are rebuilding this bike to sell it, and I won't sell it if it's not, you know, in proper condition. So that's where we are. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean these first, then I'm going to come over here and clean all these attaching nuts and bolts, and clean this face and pop the valves out. Gee whiz, it just sounds so much fun. Good thing I have everything necessary. So that's where we are. Okay, so it's a little after 4. I'm getting ready to call it a day. I did some additional work here. I've just pulled the pistons off. I figured if I'm going to measure the pistons inside the cylinders to check the clearance and see if I needed new pistons, it would be easier if I took all this off and cleaned everything. So the engine here is cleaned off, the base is cleaned, and these are tight and everything's good. By the way, I looked at the faces of the cam. The cam is immaculate. The cam is just fine, and so I'm just not going to worry about that. Now, the fun part, excuse me, drop this. Then the fun part is that I took the pistons out and I cleaned off all the carbon, found out that they are standard. It even says standard on it somewhere. It says B and standard right here. So these are apparently standard. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe zoom in. Right there, standard. Okay, so that's good. So they're standard pistons, and I took the rings out. They were just all glommed up in the ring channels. And I started cleaning. I'm sitting here cleaning and cleaning all these channels out. I've got everything organized. By the way, I think I told you before, when I pulled the 2 pistons out, I got a total of 3 wrist pin clips. There was a 4th one missing. So, well, here it is. We'll tell you the story in a minute. So anyway, I have the rings all lined up. This is the top one on the right piston, the middle one on the top right piston, and the oil rings. Left middle, left top. And I'm being real careful in getting things organized and cleaning out the ring channels, getting them all nice and clean in there. And my good buddy Richard comes over, and he's just sort of standing there looking at the jugs. And he says, you know you're screwed, don't you? Which is always a good thing when Richard says you're screwed. Basically, you're screwed. I said, oh, what? And he says, feel in here. I felt in here, and oh my gosh, right here, right on this side, can you see the trench here? It goes all the way up and down. That's from the wrist pin on the piston that wasn't there. The wrist pin came out and rubbed against the wall of the side of the cylinder. This one, the one that wasn't there, I think that's the left side, yeah. Anyway, dug a trench. And so I'm going to have to bore this. I'm going to take this to my machinist who does my boring and ask him to figure out how deep this is and how far overbore I have to go to get past these trenches. So I may end up sleeving this as much as I don't like to. So what can I say? Now, in the meantime, you know, I also said to myself, I said, sir, since the guy who went in front of me was willing to leave 2 adjusting screws in the pushrod tube, I'll bet you $1 that he left that lost wrist pin clip. I'll bet it's down in the bottom of the motor. And it was. So I got out just to find out, I got out my really thin, malleable, bendable, really cool magnet on a stick, and I bent it slightly like this. And I got down underneath the crankshaft into the oil, and I came up with that. Now I'm going to hold it up here real close so you can see it. I want you to see the wear on this poor innocent little clip. Look at how it's been rubbed around down there inside the engine. It's thin, shiny, nasty. Oh my goodness. So we won't be reusing that. Well, we'll get new ones when we get the new pistons. So I'm going to have to order pistons once I find out how far I have to go on the overbore. In the meantime, back at the ranch, I haven't gotten to the head yet at all. I've got to clean this thing up and pop the valves out and make sure that there's no damage to the valves. None that I can see, but we'll find out. There's always, there's still time. In the meantime, over here, my good buddy Roger had a brand new set of Wassel push rods. So I'm buying these from him. And I'm just going to toss these for, especially this damaged one. These are beautiful. These are a work of art. So these go in the trash bin. This, I think I might frame this and put it up on the wall as a, things not to do. But here's the bad news. I mean, this is the bad news. These are the lifters, tappets, cam followers, whatever you want to call them. And look at the damage that was done to these by leaving those bits and pieces down at the bottom. I'm going to I'll try to zoom in here. These are just beat to heck. They're destroyed. And these two also. They got both of them, both cylinders. Look at these. They're just destroyed. So I got to get two sets of these. These are expensive, like you would not believe expensive. We're talking $400 or $500 for a set, for each set. So I'm going to get on Awful Bay and see if I can find some. And if not, I have to buy new ones. This is a kick in the pants. Let's see, how do we get rid of that? Okay. So, or a kick in the head, actually. In the meantime, tomorrow I got to come out here and clean up all these nuts and bolts. And all these nuts and bolts. And this is a special wrench used for removing the nut in the center of the rear of the barrel. So anyway, I have a full morning tomorrow just cleaning parts. And I'm going to go in there and do some research on replacing these guys and try to find out what the lift is on a stock cam, so I can decide whether or not this cam is in fact a stock cam or has somebody changed it out for a high performance, high lift cam. I hope they haven't, but I have to find out, and then I have to measure it. Anybody knows what the lift on a stock Norton cam is, let me know. I've got a good dial gauge, magnetic base dial gauge, right up here, and I can use it to measure the lift, and I'm going to. That's where we are. It's not a good day. This is very depressing because I thought I had Fred ready to go on the market, and I don't. So that's where we are. End of day.